streams that filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hello, sportsmen. We're into the fall hunting season now. Small game season is open. Bow hunting for deer is in full swing. We're going to open the show with a John Ford opening day adventure. Naturally, John took the high road, hunting from an upstairs tree stand along a big farm field. The deer came right across this field. Matt Radzalowski captured them on videotape. We'll have the story along with tons of how-to information on a variety of outdoor activities, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night. Time for the Practical Sportsman. September 30th, the day before opening day of Michigan's bow hunting season for deer, John Ford rolls into a campground in Mecosta County where he and Matt Radzalowski will spend the night. Kyle Randall's an expert bow hunter who has taken many deer with the bow, and he talks about opening day prospects.
October 1st can be good for deer hunting. It's your second best chance to take a trophy buck, actually, the very first day you're out there. It's a true story. The first day anybody's in the woods is the second best time to take a trophy buck. The first best time everybody knows being the rut. But it's like anything else, like opening day of gun season. No one else really has been out pestering the deer, and it can be a good time to harvest a real whopper.
So what's the setup for tomorrow?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to be hunting a couple miles from the house up from the campground here, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull in right through these folks' yards so they know it's us. They know we belong there. We're going to park the truck. We're going to walk back between two cornfields, walking straight west. We're going to come back, understand that there's about 60 acres of bedding cover that is due west of where you're going to stand. This is the tree you're going to stand. It's a big oak tree. It's one of the first oaks in the area that's starting to drop acorns, which early season draws deer like crazy. There's bedding cover on either side of you. There's cornfields and hayfields, as you can see, and this makes a nice little funnel area for the deer to swap back and forth. I'm betting that the deer will be feeding out here in the morning and work through this funnel, pick up a few acorns before going back to bed for the day. This should be
Well, Kyle usually waits until later in October before he takes a buck. His job lets him spend a lot of time bow hunting, and he holds out for the bigger racks. The morning hunting on this opening day was a washout, so here they are in the afternoon. Kyle Randall moved them to a different tree stand, Plan B.
They come right up past this tree and cut through here. There's one other reason you're going to sit here. That's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
White oak. You got it.
Now the bedding area is through there.
The bedding area is through and to the left, and the deer will be moving out across the wind. You should be set just right.
Well, what do you think, man?
Let's get up there.
Ready to give it a shot?
About time, yep, let's do it.
Well, the 4 o'clock sun is still warming the ground, creating wind currents over the farm field. The afternoon tree stand is on the edge of the woods overlooking a huge field. You'd think it was too big of a field, that deer wouldn't want to cross it. But Kyle says they will. The question is, will they cross under this tree? Well, John Ford scans the field edges with binoculars. It wasn't 10 minutes after he and Matt got in place that a decent buck emerged from the opposite woods and started walking across the open field. It appears to be a big 6-point. Now, Matt's using a home video camera instead of our professional Betacam. That's a little easier and safer to use from a tree. The quality isn't as good, but it has a few technical shortcomings. It is a practical way to document a hunt, though. The 6-point lumbered across the field, got to a point where, he was maybe 70 yards away. Now, that's way too far for a shot, but plenty close enough to get John's heart pumping. This is actually a pretty darn big buck to most of us bow hunters. John tries to keep him in sight, but even from a tree, there are limbs in the way. John's movements in the tree are disguised pretty well, though. Not so much because of his camo, but because of the wind blowing the leaves every which way. The wind covers a lot of motion by a hunter because the whole woods is moving, at least to the eye of a deer. It's often said that deer are spooky in the wind, but hey, deer are spooky all the time. When the wind is really blowing hard, they're more nervous than usual, but in an average breeze, deer are just average spooky, which is to say that they're pretty spooky all the time. Now, this buck gives a little stomp with his front hoof, not enough to telegraph any major alarm. Now, here's where the automatic focus feature of a home video recorder is a problem. It's focusing on the leaves, not on the deer between the leaves. Not much you can do about that. Autofocus might seem smart, but it doesn't have a brain, you know.
Did you see him run off? Yeah, he took off. That was exciting, let me tell you what. Did you get some good shots of that?
Good shots, yeah, pretty good. But your heart was beating half as fast as mine was.
The first deer in the first 10 minutes. Now here's what it looks like looking up when you're standing in a tree stand halfway up a big tree. That's not bad, but looking down is a little freaky. John is standing on a wedge, a little platform wedged between two trunks. Now Matt is higher than John. Or is that Matt? Looks like Hulk Hogan. Nah, that's Matt with the camera in his hand, picking up another buck on the far corner of the field. Now, scent is not a big problem today. The blowing wind dissipates scent quickly, every which direction.
It's about 7 o'clock. We got about 3 deer in front of us. One of them's a nice buck. The problem is they're about 80 yards away. Well, we'll just hope they come over here.
And lo and behold, the buck does just that. It comes over here. At least it starts in John's direction. Ah, the autofocus. But you can see the deer anyway.
Matt, you can't see the deer, right?
No, there's too many leaves on the trees, yeah.
That buck got within another probably 70 yards of me. I think he worked his way down far enough where he got downwind of us, and he just took off.
That's the fun of videotaping with a buddy. You can share the moments of high excitement right there just after they've happened. Oh, the clock marches on this opening day. The sun continues dropping into the west and the light gradually diminishes moment by moment. It's now 15 minutes before dark and a small buck starts trotting across the field, then running. That's another exciting thing about hunting in the evening. Oftentimes the deer start to congregate. You see 2, 3, maybe half dozen or more. And on this evening, Kyle Randall was right. There are big bucks in this neck of the woods. They're exciting to watch, even if they never walk into bow hunting range. There's something else exciting about hunting from a tree. Now just watch Johnny as he leans out a little too far. Oops! A shifting tree stand is an adventure in itself. Remember to always wear your safety belt when you're hunting from a tree stand. Let the deer, not your fear, bring you the excitement of bow hunting.
Okay, Ben.
You don't need a dog to hunt small game, but there's no doubt that a dog makes hunting more fun, and you'll find more game with a decent dog than you'll flush on your own. Now, pointing dogs are fun to hunt with because they freeze when they're close to a bird, but some dogs freeze when there's no bird there. We asked hunting dog trainer Mark Raymond, why do some pointers make so many false points?
Pointing dogs scent point, so they're not seeing the bird out there. You may have a bed where a bird has set all night. If you're hunting, let's say in the morning, that bird's been there all night, he's left a lot of scent on the ground. As the dog comes in, he catches that scent. He's doing his job by pointing it until he can decipher whether or not that bird is still there. He smells then for body scent, and that's what you want a dog locking and holding point on body scent, not ground scent. A properly trained dog will false point, move in, investigate, realize the bird is gone after a while, he'll move in and move on. If he's close enough and the scent's hot, he'll track, if he's trained well to track. But when he comes onto that bird and gets actual body scent, that's when he should lock and hold and not move on.
In the fall, many sportsmen put away their rods and reels and take out their guns for hunting season. Every year we get questions about fall fishing, such as, I don't hunt small game. Is it worthwhile for me to fish for bass in October and November? Professor Finns has the answer.
October is a great time for bass. They move back up into the shallows right along the weed line, and they're hungry. My favorite technique is to row the boat up quietly right to the edge of the weed line, about 4 to 10 foot of water, and then cast parallel to the weed line so I can bring my bait. The full length of the retrieve can be right by within a foot or two of the edge of the weeds. Use large diving baits and hang on. The lunkers are there.
If you're a bow hunter who takes the high road, in other words, you hunt from a tree stand, you may have noticed that the deer don't come into your area day after day. Tom Nelson from Anderson Archery is aware of this phenomenon and is often asked by hunters, why don't I see as many deer from my tree stand after the first or second day I hunt it?
Biggest reason is bow hunters tend to overhunt their area. They'll hunt day after day, night after night, out of the same tree stand, basically driving the deer away. Rotate. Real key to success. Rotate your tree stand setup. Move from spot to spot. I try to give my stands 3 days rest in between sits. Play the wind. Have a stand for the predominantly west wind. Have a stand set up for a rare east wind. Try to have a few different stands. I realize most of us are limited to a small amount of property that we can hunt anymore, but don't be afraid to have a couple spots 100 yards apart maybe. It'll be a real key to your success this fall.
On page 13 of the Michigan Hunting and Trapping Guide, you'll find the rule that says all hunters must wear hunter orange during firearm deer season so that the garment is visible from all sides. Attorney Sal Ghani has been getting the question, does a deer hunter have to wear hunter orange while he's inside a blind?
My answer is yes. My interpretation of the law is that a hunter must wear hunter orange even if he's inside in a closed blind. Now, obviously, hunters outside can't see you, but the law has some safety concerns. A hunter might forget to put his or her cap back on. One might consider putting some type of orange outside the blind so someone can see you. Now, wearing hunter orange should be something as small as a cap, a hat, or a vest, but you must wear something that's orange.
John Ford and Matt Radzilowski have been building a hunting blind from the plans we have in the August-September issue of our Outdoor Digest magazine. Dave Smith from Muskegon says you can build it for less than $100. Well, this week, John and Matt put the finishing touches on the blind, and here's their final report.
Well, this blind is actually very easy to build, especially if you have someone like Matt Radzilowski to build it for you, or help build it anyway. Matt, how did you do the camouflage on the blind?
Well, to start off with, we painted the whole blind this gray color to help seal up the wood, protect it from the environment.
That's right, this is chipboard, so that would really soak up the water.
Yeah, that's not going to last too long out there in the woods. Then to get the leaf pattern, just took a branch and used black and gray flat paint, and that gave us a nice outline.
That's a nice effect on the blind. Now, what about the latch for the door?
Well, I thought I'd save some money instead of going out buying a latch. Just took an old clothespin. And for our door handle, we just have a hole with a piece of rope going through. Want to leave the blind for the day, just connect the rope up to the clothespin, and it'll help lock up the blind.
Hey, that is super. Now, the inside here, is this just to keep the door from swinging too far and breaking off the hinges?
That, and as well as, this is a 2x2 framing that we framed up the door with. Just by extending that down a ½ inch or so from the door, when that edge meets the top of the door here, that'll help seal it up, prevent wind and rain from blowing in on your back.
Sounds good. Let's take a look at this. You know, when we first saw this inside here, we thought, this is crazy. This is just too much room. But Matt, you know what? It's kind of nice to be able to stretch in
out
here.
Sure.
And you could put shelves up here.
Maybe even a coat hook in the corner, keep your jacket out of the way.
Yeah, that would be great. Now the windows, this is actually plexiglass. What do you think of plexiglass?
Well, it can be tough to work with. I found drilling the hole for the little pivot hinge here as well as cutting it, it does chip and break fairly easily, so you got to be careful.
Well, look what you did here. This is a little window stop. In here, so that keeps it from swinging too far, swinging right back here. Now, probably you want to put some moleskin.
Yeah, plexiglass, the problem with that, it does scratch fairly easy. So maybe moleskin outlining the window help cut down on the noise and protect the glass.
Okay, so how long did it take you to build this, first of all?
About a day and a half.
Day and a half.
The basic frame and walls go up just like that, but the details as far as the gun rest and some of the framing does take a little bit of time.
Okay, and how much money? What did it cost?
We spent about $85.
85 bucks.
85 bucks.
Very nice. And of course, in the wintertime,
block out this window, maybe seal it up with a piece of wood. You got yourself a nice shanty to drag out on the ice.
Well, congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, John.
Well done.
Michigan's goose population has exploded in recent years. These big birds are so plentiful that hunters are often welcome to thin out the nuisance flocks. Paul Chiba from Kalamazoo has a great way to prepare goose breasts that make them taste like round steak or beef tips. Trim all the fat and silver skin off the breasts from 2 Canada geese and slice the meat into 1/4-inch strips. Combine the meat with 5 onions peeled and quartered, 1 cup of apple juice, and salt and pepper. Put this mixture into an oven cooking bag with 2 tablespoons of flour. Shake it up, seal it, cut the slits in the top, and bake that at 350 degrees for about 2 hours. Serve this over wild rice or noodles. Honestly, it tastes like beef. That's Paul Chiba's Goose in a Bag. You can find the recipe in the August-September issue.
Here, come on. That's it. That's it. Jump up there. That's a girl. That's more like it.
Behind the home video camera is Denny Fenney from Big Rapids. In front of the camera, well, let's call her Pat the Brat.
Sure. I thought you didn't like me for a minute there. Yeah.
She's a wild ruffed grouse, native to the North Woods. Now, you'd think she'd be afraid of people, but I call her Pat the Brat because she teases the hunting dogs. They're right over there.
Dogs over there having a fit. They pointed for a week straight. Mm-hmm.
Denny is having a little trouble focusing on the grouse, but it's no wonder. The plumage on a ruffed grouse is designed to camouflage into the forest floor. That's why it's so difficult to spot a grouse sitting in the leaves in the fall. They blend right in. It's called protective coloration. Now, Denny said that this grouse drove his 2 Brittany's crazy for about 3 weeks. The goofy bird would often follow him when he walked around the yard. Now, you've probably noticed that Denny has been striking up quite the conversations with Pat the Brat. Well, now it's bedtime.
Good night. Good night. There she goes. You gotta tell the dogs good night.
That's the story of Pat the Brat, the ruffed grouse that loved to tease Dennis Fenney's hunting dogs. Did you ever see anything like it?
No, they're few and far between from up there.
So how'd you find this one?
He just happened to come by. It was just a normal day, you know, go out hunting. Try to get out as much as you can. Just go out after school. My dad and brother drop me off. And I get back to my stand, get up there, get all ready. And I was there about an hour. You know, 5 Point walks by. And then he just left. And then about an hour later, I heard coming behind me, I heard 3 of them walking. One was a 6 Point, one was about a 5 or 6 Point, I'm not real sure. And then he comes behind him and, oh man, he's big. And he's around me for about a half hour. It was dead calm that night. I never moved, but he still knew I was there. He looked right at me twice. And he just put his head down again and started eating some brush. Then he finally did work his way in. I got a shot at him about 20 yards. And I just got my bow back and I get the pin on him. And he looks right at me. And I let it fly. He took right off. He ran about 100 yards and dropped.
Now, how old are you?
18.
18?
Yep, 17 when I got him.
So you're senior in
That's
high
right,
school?
yep.
But you didn't have to take off from school to do this because
Nope.
you hunt after school.
Yep, this one was, yep.
Well, it sounds like you're a seasoned hunter.
Yeah, I go as much as I can.
And how many deer have you gotten in your career?
6.
6?
6.
With bow?
2 with gun, 4 with bow.
Wow, that's a great record. And this one is a 14 Point
Yep.
with a 24-inch spread, 10.5-inch tines. I'd say you have graduated.
Yep.
Very good. Ryan, congratulations.